What's up guys, Person here, and in the last video I wanted to hit a certain sub count as I mentioned. I wanted to make a post on Twitter, which I then did. I had the double funny number and then I got a lot of internet validation points. So yeah, it's going well. But there's something that is not going quite well, and that is the state of Hearthstone. The more you look at Reddit, okay, to be fair, Reddit is like a microcosm, like a little circle of negativity, but the more you look at that, you realize people are not that happy about the game for the past. Pretty much since the game got launched, the popularity kinda went down. Since like 2015-16, the numbers are not necessarily skyrocketing. So I thought let's approach this video from an entrepreneurial point of view.
2 words, entrepreneurship.
And that is go to Zeddy's channel, see what works, take the concept and make the exact same video. And here we are, taking a look at things that Hearthstone should change in 2021 so it can stay competitive, can stay on top of the, I'm not sure how many games are in the Blizzard launcher, but be one of them that people remember. I also gotta secure my own views on this channel or it dies. So let's talk about some concepts and things that should be changed just so that Hearthstone flourishes, and won't become malnourished in the next year.
Bars!
First of all, which I think is a very easy thing to do, hit the like and sub button. But what I mean for Hearthstone is communicate to the audience, to the community. I'm part of that community. I mean, I talk to a camera, but I communicate to you. And I see your YouTube comments and I click on reply and send words. You know, that's how communication works. Well, we haven't really seen that this year when it comes to Hearthstone, have we? I think in the beginning they set themselves some resolutions for 2020 that they wanted to make more Reddit Q&As, talk to us more, be open with us so we can see what Hearthstone is doing, where the game is heading towards. And yeah, we didn't get that. We just didn't. And here's the good thing about communication. The number one thing in a relationship is communication, because you know what to expect from your partner. In our case, what can we expect from Hearthstone? Well, I have no idea. They don't tell us anything. Do we have a World Championship? Yes. Do we get even a tweet about that? Any announcement? Not really. We had this Battlegrounds tournament last weekend. Did we get a tweet about that or any announcement? Not really. Do we get any tournament for anything next year? I have no idea. Potentially. Can we ask the devs questions and maybe get answers? I don't know. Just number one, communicate. It can't be so hard. One person in the team takes a look at Reddit, makes a Q&A, answers some questions. You know how it used to be when Ben Broad was there? Kinda like that. Then on the topic of tournaments and what to expect. Wouldn't it be nice if players, so people like you and me, actually have access to tournaments or certain events instead of just YouTubers, streamers, people like that? To be fair, I am one of those. I can technically get invited to those tournaments and events and then get like $5,000 for participating. You really get 5k minimum just for playing for an hour. But wouldn't it be nice if there's just anything outside of Grandmasters that anybody can participate in? You don't even have to make it with a monetary price. It's not like somebody who wins a tournament needs to get $20,000 or he won't be happy. No, you could just give us a card back or anything that is an achievement in game. Will that happen? Probably not. You know what else probably won't happen, but would be pretty cool? Log-in rewards. Just logging into the game. When I was testing 4 different games for Hearthstone alternatives about a couple of weeks ago, I noticed that in Legends of Runeterra, for the first 7 days, you just get login rewards. You just get stuff for free just for logging in. And you don't even have to get a lot. If you would get like, let's say 50 gold or 50 dust, I think that would be enough that almost all of us would just open the game at least for a minute and then close it for the rest of the day. But we at least would open that. It does not have to be much, doesn't need to be expensive, just something that rewards us for actually playing the game. And then when it comes to playing the game, it would be nice if you can play the game without investing a ton of money, because the game is pretty expensive. I do happen to own all the cards, but I also spent like a couple $1,000s on the game, just to own the cards that I never play. The thing is, most cards in Hearthstone, at least if you look at Wild and all the cards from all the sets combined, like 80% of them don't see any play. They're just useless. Pretty much like that. They're literally useless. Which then gets me thinking, why does an old card from like 6 years ago that has not seen play for 6 years has the same amount of value and rarity like a card nowadays? Like a legendary in the latest set in the Darkmoon Fair is probably a lot better than a legendary from GVG. So why do both cards have the exact same price and the same chance of dropping from buying packs? I personally just play the game for fun, but to have fun in the game, you gotta own a bunch of cards. You want to do different things. And to do different things, you gotta invest quite a lot of money. So it would be nice, at least for wild cards, or at least for cards that are ranked garbage, that those have like a quarter of the cost. And even if they don't want to give us a fair reduction on all the wild cards when it comes to crafting, then maybe give us at least something like a test period. And that reminds me of this one legendary which is wild for like a year now. Whispang. Whispang, the wonderful guy that gives you 1 out of 20 different decks. changing every single expansion. He gives you 2 different decks per class and it's random. Whenever you use the card in a deck and you queue into anyone, you get one of the 2 random decks from the classes. Thing is though, those pre-made decks that he offers you, they are standard decks. The card is wild now. Why is the card wild? That can only give you standard decks. Why not just make that part of the classic set? I think for the past 2 years since Whispering came out, people were just asking, can this card please be classic? What happens when it becomes wild? And Blizzard just doesn't respond to that and ignores the fact that the card exists. And if you then look at Whispering 2.0, also known as Zaylee Shadowcloak, which gives you 1 out of 5 different evil decks, you get the same decks for the past year and a little bit since Rise of Shadows was released. And in April next year, that card is also going to be wild. Can't we just update those cards, put them into standard? Or at the very least, let us choose which deck we can play when we use that card? That might be too much because you would own 20 decks with 1 card, but something along those lines would be nice. Next thing, I come with a Yu-Gi-Oh background. Literally, I mean, there's Yu-Gi-Oh in the background. And in there you had starter decks and structure decks. Those were all decks of a specific type, let's say something like a Murloc deck, a Dragon deck, for a Hearthstone equivalent. And you could buy or purchase those things in real life, which was a 40 card deck, had some extra cards in there. You had like 1 strong monster at the very front, a couple support cards, a couple staple cards, and the entirety of structure or starter decks wasn't really put into Hearthstone. I mean, it's put into Hearthstone with Zaylee and Whispang, as you get an entire deck archetype to try out, but you can't just purchase decks. So here's my idea. Wouldn't it be nice for new players to see like the top deck on HS Replay, like the deck with the highest win rate, some meta deck even, to just be purchasable, which changes like once a week? So if Highlander Hunter is the #1 deck in Standard, but you have like 8 legendaries in there, do you want to spend like 15,000 dust and more to craft it? Probably not. But if you could purchase the deck for like 5 or 10,000 gold, maybe, but even then. Never mind, now that I'm thinking about it, I think you get like 10 to 12,000 gold after 4 months of playing. Maybe that price would be too much. Maybe that doesn't really work for Hearthstone. But something like that, just buy a bigger bundle for gold or dust, not necessarily real life money. Because all the bundles you can buy are packs or hero skins and they cost real life money. So yeah, let me pre-order things and buy things with gold. Like expansions. I don't want to spend $80 per expansion and have no other way of spending money on that. I can't use dust, I can't use gold. I can use nothing in game, I gotta use real life things. I don't want to use money. Let me use gold. And for the last point, reduce the time you have per turn. At least in the first 5 turns. There's absolutely no reason that I queue into another person that ropes every single turn, and doesn't get punished for it. Why can my opponent just waste my lifetime? You've probably heard the quote before, you can always make more money, but you can't make more time. And I'm thinking about that a lot when I queue into people in Hearthstone that just rope intentionally. Obviously, if you need like a minute to figure out what you play on your turn, please, take your time. In tournaments, you can win money, take your time. On ladder, at rank 5 Bronx and Wild, against somebody who has a golden hero. Somebody that definitely knows how to play the game. There's no reason they need to rope 7 turns in a row. No, that's just bad manners. Let me report that person. Let me give feedback directly after the game, or at least have some data that compares the turn limit for each person, how long they took. If I spend a total of 2 minutes playing the game, but my opponent took 13, I feel like my opponent should be matched against somebody else who wasted all my time. So they can rope each other and have fun doing that. I would like to queue into people that actually exist, people that play. Which brings us to the last point in the last point. We have bots in Hearthstone, Odd Warriors and Wild, that just rope for experience. Why are there bots in the game? Ban them. So to sum up the entire video, wouldn't it be nice if Hearthstone just looks at all the other card games out there, like Gwent, Runeterra, Magic, looks at what those games do exceptionally well, and they just adapt the concept. Like there's no original idea. Anything you think about, all the words you use, somebody else used before. All the comments you might write, somebody else said the same thing a year ago. Nothing is original. Take what works, make people happy. Wouldn't that be nice? I think it would be. I really hope that something happens, that they look at the numbers, they see the graph is not going up, stonks are not going up, they're going down, and then they maybe change things. What would you like to see changed in Hearthstone for the next year? I will make sure to DM people that work at Blizzard. I think I have connections to 2 of them, and I will let them know. And then they probably see the message, ignore it, and move on with their day, but maybe they'll listen. But yeah, we will see. I mean, it can't get worse than 2020, right? I would like to achieve one certain thing before Hearthstone is completely Heroes of the Storm. I mean that. Sorry, used the wrong word there. And that is getting to 100k subs. I had this bet with Dexter once in February this year, so like 10 months ago. I wanted to raise him to 100,000 subs on YouTube. Wanted to see who gets there faster. And I wanted to bet $1,000 on that. Now, at the moment, Dexter is at like 84,000. We are at 70,000. So we probably are going to hit that number by next year, but I want to hit it before Dexter. All in all, in case Hearthstone dies, I have 2 other channels. The Solem Daily channel, where there's Hearthstone gameplays, so that doesn't really make sense to mention right now. And the other channel called Melos, so Solem backwards, where I talk about finances, money, and improving your life. Kinda, not really. I'll just give you some insights into how to stream, YouTube tips, how much money I make here and there, to show you how it is to do this as a living and talk to a camera in a room that is empty. With that being said, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot to Zeddy for giving me all the ideas that I can yoink. By the way, that's a joke between us. He is happy that I make videos about the same topics and pretty much advertise them. And I'm happy that he's a nice guy, even though he's quite salty on camera. I also had the idea to make a video about Zeddy said, "What about me?" And I took this cringy picture as a thumbnail. And then I wanted to cut together some things from his stream whenever I join him and say like, "Hi Zeddy, what's up?" And he's like, "I hate you, Solem, you take all my ideas." Playful banter between friends. He's like 3 times as old as I am, but I don't know, you gotta help your elders. There's going to be one video on the 31st. Let's hope for good things and take care.